and welcome back to the Comic Lounge. I know this was definitely a bit of a gap between the last video. I mean, I don't know if that much of a gap because it wasn't. I did a packaging or unpackaging video from the mail. But either way, the reason is there was some delays in a particular shipment, which I'll eventually get into showing. But either way, it eventually happened, and since that time, I finally made a couple trips to the shop here in town, which is how I did the Gaming Zone. And from there, what I pretty much am able to have at this point is 10 comics to show you. And there's at least a few that are from online, and one of them, again, if you've seen my mail and packaging video, you know which comic it is. However, the other two were obvious pre-orders that I had pre-ordered back in the beginning of February, and they were for brand new releases. And again, there was delays in shipment for those, but eventually they got shipped out, and now I'm able to do it. So for the most part, I'm going to be starting off with the three that I got online. The two that I got, pre-ordered on eBay, because again, there is no, comic shop here in town that specializes in brand new releases, only back issues, and that's how I did the Gaming Zone. So for the most part, I have to do, pre-order most of my books ahead of time, instead of just waiting on, comic book day to get the books that I want. So, with that, the two that I pre-ordered off of eBay and the one that I got off of Etsy. And so, let's start off with the comic that I got off of Etsy, and this was the one that I did the mail and packaging video for. And it is for, basically, it was a Kickstarter backing comic, whatever, from last year that eventually was made more available on Dakota Alexander's Etsy page, and this is for his first ever published comic book, and that's The Hunter, which is pretty much was a throwback to Bronze Age and very early Copper Age Marvel comics, and at times a little bit of DC as well, but obviously, you can tell this was very much more of a homage, whatever, to Moon Knight. But it's still a different character. There's differences, but it's still got some similarities. But this pretty much feels much like a Bronze Age era comic. And it is just great. I really love this comic. And he does a really good job capturing the spirit of that. His art style, he really honed in that classic. To me, at times, his art style does remind me here and there of artists like Mike Zeck, Gil Kane, and even Rich Buckler, surprising enough. But he's in that sort of same field, and it is just great. This was a really fun book, and I know he is currently working on the second issue, and when that, gets put up for the Kickstarter, I'm definitely going to jump on. This was a really fun book, and this was the main cover variant for it. I know there's 2 cover ones as well, but I just went with this one. It was the cheapest to begin with, and I just wanted it, and it's just so awesome to begin with. Look at that. Sorry for all the glaring, but there you go. Just great. Again, if you want to see more of this book, do check out my mail and packaging video. You'll know. It'll literally say The Hunter on the package. So, there you go. Alright, so now let's get to the other 2 online books. These were the 2 that I pre-ordered basically, and obviously you'd be kind of curious. If you've been watching my channel, you know there's only one book that I usually pre-order, and that's Spawn. However, there was another book I had to jump on. It was for a brand new title, brand new series. I normally don't, gravitate towards brand new DC and Marvel, but there's just some characters that I have reserved, reserved, basically. And I was about to say, I have my characters, so this was one, and I've becoming a very big fan of this character to begin with. And if you've ever been paying attention to my channel, I've been at least picking up some from the original series and some from the Rebirth series, and of course a lot of his appearances in certain team books as well. What I'm talking about is obviously part of DC's Next Level initiative. It is issue number 1 for the brand new Deathstroke the Terminator series from Tony Fleecs and artist Carmine Di Giandomenico, and I hope I pronounced that correctly. And yeah, I think I pretty much pronounced that as correctly as I can. And I did read this, and this was a really freaking good starting issue, and this is obviously going to lead to a 6-part storyline. I think this is pretty much the first part, and I do have the second issue already pre-ordered, as well as the third issue being pre-ordered. So I have those on reserve, and eventually, once those gets in, I'll definitely be checking out the rest, because I'm definitely going to be following, and this is a really, really fun issue. It definitely gives me vibes of the original series from the 90s. There is some of that classic Slade isms, whatever. He definitely is more so closer to Marv Wolfman's sort of persona, but there is some of the, Christopher Priest stuff that's at least spiced in there. It's still modern Deathstroke, but there's a lot more emotion to the character than you actually had gotten in the Christopher Priest run. But the action, the suspense, this was so good. So I can't wait. Eventually, whenever if I visit Reno, I'll definitely check out the Comic Kingdom and see if I can grab maybe a couple more of the Next Level titles. We'll see. But either way, it was a really, really fun first issue. And again, I'm very brand new to Tony Fleecs' writing, and I think I'm pretty much becoming a fan. And I do like his enthusiasm. I like his style, and I will definitely try and see if I can find some of his any from the Thing miniseries that he did from Marvel. So, and if I ever find Local Man, because he's definitely pretty dang good already from this first issue. This is good. So there you have it. Deathstroke the Terminator from the newest series for Next Level DC Comics. And finally, speaking of Spawn, here it is. It is 373. I decided to go with the Mattina, the Francesco Mattina variant, which is the A cover. Mostly because of, I just kind of contemplated between, do I really get the B cover? Because I wasn't really feeling the B cover for this issue then compared to this. So I decided I'll just grab the A cover variant, even though I pretty much want to avoid most of his art. But I just didn't really find his, the B cover variant to be all that interesting to me. So I just went with this. Still, apparently this is getting close to the end of McFarlane's fourth or fifth run, whatever, on his own character's long-running title. So McFarlane pretty much by 375 he's going to be gone. And also Brett Booth who had just went on to the title, by 350 is going to be gone by then. So there's going to be a complete different creative shakeup. And so we're getting near, and I'm definitely going to continue on. I am not stopping. I'm going to at least continue on. But if I don't like what I like, I'll probably end up jumping off before I could probably jump back on with issue number 400. You'll never know. But either way, this is, and it's been kind of getting a little tough to even start and put pre-orders on some of these Spawn books because they're starting to become less and less printed. I'm taking it. So the shops are not really ordering as much as I would want to. I don't know if that has anything to do with the Could be with the current political climate, the tariffs, and maybe situations with Image. I know there's a lot of, there's even some stuff between lawsuits from, was it? The guy that owned Diamond, was it Diamond Distribution? I know there's been a lawsuit with that. There's a lot of stuff going on with that. You know, there's lawsuits. So that could maybe be it. But then again, you never know what's the reason. Either way, at least I got myself a copy. So there you have it, Spawn 373. So there you have it. There's at least all of the stuff I got off of, I purchased off of, online. So eBay and Etsy. Now let's get to all the stuff I got at the shop here in town, Highway to the Gaming Zone, and these are all going to be back issue stuff. This is all older stuff, but stuff that I want to add to the collection, especially these two here, which these were not bagged and boarded when I had found them, but I was able to get them for $3. But it's issues 2 and 3 of the original Punisher War Journal series. So again, issue number 2. And then number 3. And obviously when it comes to Punisher, it's another character I'm always going to collect. Just been, of course, if you know, have it. Or back there, Return to Big Nothing. There you have it. This is obviously during Jim Lee's period on the title. This was pretty much the beginning of it. And so, again, Punisher War Journal number 2 and 3. Eventually, I might track down, if I can find a copy of number 1. But these are all great. You know what? Even for ones that were, were not bagged or boarded at all, these are still in pretty good shape. Nothing terrible at all. And, of course, it was probably because of these were more higher quality in printing. So that could also be why. And these were direct editions for these books. These weren't newsstands. There are newsstand editions for these particular Punisher comics, but so far I've not been able to find newsstand editions. I know those go for a little more, but still, for $3 each, I was so happy to at least gladly to add these to the collection. So always love finding 80s Punisher, especially stuff from the early War Journal stuff. So now, the next 5 are all from technically 2 different characters, but 2 different characters with the same name, and these are all DC. I had been putting off of grabbing these titles, mostly because of originally at the time, before they did all of the repricing of their books, basically, doing a complete overhaul of what they have and what they had originally priced, Before they did all that, these were pretty priced at a bit of a hefty price for me. They were a little bit too high than I would have, cared to really, pay money for. Even though they were not in bad shape, these are all at least close to, at least between mid and high grade. These are in very good shape to begin with, but the prices just were not matching what I was seeing online. I just was not matching with eBay. Then when they did the entire price overhaul by, October and so on, these finally got priced way low, and I was finally able to jump on these. So what this is the Manhunter character, and this is the one from the 80s. So I got at least the first 4 issues from the first ever Manhunter series for the Mark Shaw character. And so here you have it, is number 1, which I got for $1. Literally, these have been nothing but dollar books to begin with. So it's actually kind of great that they were able to match these with what you're finding in shops or online to begin with. So again, Manhunter number 1. This is a very good mid-grade to begin with, but still really good. First appearance of the villain Dumas. So right there, more of a good mid-grade, but it's still really good. We have his number 2. Now this is more closer to a high grade. It's in really good shape to begin with, and Fantastic. This was $2, but $2 is still not bad. So you have it. Number 2. And again, all of these other ones were $2. So there's number 3. And then number 4. And the reason I got these 2 is because I wanted to check them out, and this was a 4-part storyline, and so this was what kicked off the series, again, from John Ostrander and Kim Yale. By the way, to bring up, these were actually inked by, if you notice, Sam Keith, who, if you didn't know, just passed away, some weeks ago, and really did kind of hurt because of that. I just like everybody else, I grew up on Sam Keith too with the Max series, and I probably should at least post because I had to pull them out. Yep. For my copies of number 1 and number 2. So I just want to throw in a little bit of a complete sort of tribute to Sam Keith within the video just to get in, want to throw it in because I grew up just like everybody else, and I've pretty much grew up on his art. I have got some of the Toxic Crusader, pretty much the entire for I know there's for a couple issues I swore I had that I'm missing, but those covers were drawn by Sam Keith, and so I grew up on his art style. I grew up on his whole work, and so I had to at least do a little tribute to him just because it just would not be fair. So I had to. So again, rest in peace to Sam Keith. But these 2 definitely were, I had to do a little shout out. I had to do a little of that, given that Manhunter issues 1 and 2 were obviously inked by the late Sam Keith, and that was before he ever went to Marvel Comics. And finally, this was for $4, but this is actually way priced at a much lower price than compared to what I'm seeing on eBay. But it is the Manhunter Special is what I've seen this being called or titled. But this is basically a compilation of all of the short stories from Detective Comics. And so I think from Detective Comics, I'm already forgetting, was it 473 or 474 or whatever to 483 or something like that. And it's all the short stories, and it basically is compiled into one big book. Again, this was early Walt Simonson, by the way, and writer Archie Goodwin. And so again, this was would have been from the years 73 to 74. But these are all compiled into one book. And this is pretty much on the Paul Kirk Manhunter. Now, the second variation from DC Comics, not the original from the Golden Age. This was the second variation for the character. And this would kick off the Manhunters in DC Comics. And Mark Shaw being the other one. So I had to grab it, and they had it there. And it's in really good shape, by the way. Almost close to near mint, but not quite. It's a really good high mid-grade. That's all I can say. So there you have it. So there you have it, folks. There's all the comics that I picked up throughout most of March. Stuff I pre-ordered and stuff that I got online to begin with that wasn't pre-ordered. And then stuff I got at the shop. And so with that, if there's any titles within this video that you have read or you have in your collection or want to check out, again, let me know, or just leave your thoughts in the comments section below. However, if you do like what I show on this channel and you want to keep up with what I do, not only will it do me great, but it will do you great, because if you click that subscribe button, you'll never miss out on any new content. So until then, I hope you all enjoyed it. This is Thrashhead over at the Comic Lounge saying I'm out, and I'll see you all later. Take care, everybody.